Triumph and tragedy of the Three-Fifths Compromise and how the negotiation between northern and southern states undergoes. To start off, larger states were mostly populated with slaves in comparison to smaller states. Smaller states had family-sized farms and didn't really use slaves, but the larger states had plantations and farms of the masses of cotton, tobacco, and more. So they used slaves because it was a cheaper way to get the job done. While sorting their differences, they had to come up with compromises. One of these was the Great Compromise. The Great Compromise stated that there will be a bicameral system, meaning two houses. This led to one, the House of Senate, and the second house, which was based off of population. Lots of the southern states wanted to count the slaves to get more representatives, while the northern states said no for representation but wanted to count them for taxes. This created controversy. No one ever could play fair. But the smaller states were not having it. They thought that this was unfair and they were angry, leading to them undergoing an argument. The smaller states believed, why should the slaves be counted? They can't even vote, they're not eligible, and they're not even citizens. Well, the larger states thought the same thing. They just wanted to have extra votes. So they came up with the Three-Fifths Compromise. The Three-Fifths Compromise states that 3 out of every 5 slaves are to be counted as a vote. This means that the larger states had some advantage, but not many. The slaves still hadn't got their citizenship, but they were close. Even though it was unjust for them to be counted and not even be citizens or get to vote, they still did it. So this was a tragedy for the slaves. This was bad for the slaves. But for the larger states, it was good. They had all came to a compromise, and the larger states better representation and better taxation. Because after this, it had not been touched until 1808. Slaves had not been changed. They had been still counted as 3/5 the vote, but not in the present. During these times, it was very hard. The Great Compromise and the Three-Fifths Compromise eventually led up to great things happening, even though they weren't that great themselves.